You've got it locked to HTLA Radio 1, New York.
This program is intended for mature audiences only. If you have any homicidal or suicidal feelings, please consult a doctor before listening to this program.
Of course, we've got the one and only Jenny McCartney in the booth, the social media goddess herself, pushing those buttons, making the show go again today. And, the co-hosts. I guess we'll go with the co-hosts. We got some of those, of course, coming to us live via satellite, as always, from his perch, I guess, high atop the Mill Bay Studios in beautiful Mill Bay, British Columbia, Canada, is the one and only Louis Lawless. Yes, high atop there. Are you there, Louis?
You know how to spell my last name on the check, right? It's Louis Lawless.
Yes, we got that. Don't worry.
Oh, can we cuss? Can I cuss as I always do on the show?
You go right ahead, sir. We've got you covered.
It's about fucking time. Move on.
All right. And also joining us from his wonderful, beautiful, stately, I must say, apartment in Manhattan here in the big city is the one, the only, what's his name again? Oh, yes, Gilbert Godfrey. Are you ready, sir?
What the fuck?
Huh? Okay.
I'm ready.
Good. All right.
Yes.
All right. Gilbert Godfrey joining us from his lovely home here in the city. And also joining us is, of course, the one, the only George Takei, all the way from his home in Los Angeles, California. George, thank you for coming.
I think it's a treat to be here talking with you.
Yeah. There you go. And thank you. That's awesome. Now, is this thing on?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's on. Is this on? Is this on? I can't tap it. I would tap it, but I won't do that. So.
There you go. Well.
Right. Only one, Meeps. That's us. The only one, HTLA Radio 1 New York, and you're here and you're listening. And this is Straight Talk. And, yeah, we've got 90 minutes of springtime in the city stories for you tonight. And, yeah, lots of social injustice stories. I'm in the mood for ranting. We said we weren't going to do a rant show, but here we are. And it's going to turn into a rant show.
It is, yes.
I can't help but be angry about the stories. You know, there's just too much to be excited about. Everybody's got to bring us down with all this stuff.
Stupidity.
That's right. And, well, we'll talk about that, too, because we've got a great show coming up for you that we've got in development for a little while now, and we're going to launch that Wednesday, and we'll talk about that a bit later. That's pretty exciting. That's called The Spotlight with Kate and Crash.
Absolutely. And tonight, a bit of a free-for-all. We're going to tear it up for you on tonight's Straight Talk. Everything from the day's events to some politics goodiness and the struggle, of course, to maintain home and work. We'll get into it all tonight. Professional businesswomen that I talk to, they do the work, but it's just the corporate work, and they think that's enough because, damn it, I've just put 12 hours a day in today in my job, and
right.
They feel deserving of something else, not to come home and take care of the kids, and not to come home and take care of the husband, and not to come home and take care of anything else.
Right.
It's time for them to kick their feet up now and go hit the bars and relax or something because they've earned it. Right. And I'm here to say that as a man, we do that all the time. We always have. We go out and work our full-time jobs or more.
Right.
And we come home and we're still expected to be the dad. We're still expected to help the kids with the homework. We're still expected to have activities and stuff with our family and have that interaction and put that time in.
Sure.
Maybe that's why we get 100% of our pay instead of 70% of our pay.
Right. Right. Well, you're not... Well, in the tradition now, men are also expected to do half the housework and half of all that stuff, whereas it used to just be before, you know, the garbages and the lawns and all that stuff that you do, the man stuff, you know. So, yes, and unfortunately, in some cases, in a great majority of the households now, more often than not, the women are working and I have so many, friends that I know that their husbands take care of the kids and drop the kids at school and do the school activities and do the projects and wash the clothes. And
but with that comes the dreaded beta male, because there's not a single one of those men that I have met that I would look up to in battle.
No, of course not. And this is to our thinking, to our thinking. And while it took us years in practice, it was an ideology that we shared from the moment that we met anyway.
Yeah.
The whole, that was our vision for what the ideal family was.
You've got it locked to HTLA Radio 1, New York.
This program is intended for mature audiences only. If you have any homicidal or suicidal feelings, please consult a doctor before listening to this program.
That's right, because I'm going to be swearing a whole fuck of a lot tonight, I'll tell you, on this Crash Talk. Oh, yes, I am. 9 p.m. Eastern, of course, on Tuesday, the 35th of March. Yes. Wow. No, the 31st. And goodbye. Good riddance. See you later. Welcome, spring. April 1st, tomorrow. April Fools, what do you know? Well, what do you know? Well, you can bet your bottom dollar, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm going to be here on Tuesday night bitching. What am I bitching about tonight, you may ask? Well, let's see. Tonight on Crash Talk, Comedy Central has indeed replaced Mr. Jon Stewart on The Daily Show with, well, as best as I can gather, an absolute no-name out of nowhere by the name of Trevor Noah. Did they fuck up? Well, yes, they did fuck up, and Crash will tell you all about it tonight, along with a nuclear rant about good old Governor Pence and his good old governor law. Yeah, good old Governor Pence there, that Pence guy. But then you have to ask yourself, well, wait a minute. Crash usually bitches about PC stuff, and this Pence law, well, from everything I've heard, this sounds kind of like the PC thing. Well, yes. Now, see, I didn't say which side I'd be ranting and bitching on, did I? No, I didn't think so. But nonetheless, it is Tuesday night, and at 9:02 p.m. now, let's get rolling with the Crash Talk.
HTLA Radio 1.
HTLA Radio 1 in New York City proudly presents Crash Talk.
Gentlemen, HTLA 97.3 FM in New York proudly presents rock superstar Crash Jesus.
Well, there you go. If that isn't a hell of an opening, I don't know what the hell is. Damn, I'm full of expletives tonight. Well, I am. Because this show is actually marked explicit content, because I'm actually going to just let loose with the expletives. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. And you have no idea how hard it's been these last 3.5 years of doing this show, of not letting loose on the expletives. But the higher-ups at HTLA have given me the thumbs up, the green light, the go-ahead to unload. And that's, I think it's good. I think it's going to take the show up a notch. And really, there's nothing wrong with taking that show up a notch, is there? No. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. Two things I want to cover tonight on the big program. The first one, of course, is this absolute unknown Trevor Noah, who got the absolute amazing, dumbfounding. Some folks in the industry are saying, who the hell even knew him to call him? To, of course, replace Jon Stewart as the host of Comedy Central's The Daily Show. Well, I didn't know who he was. And now that I do know who he is, I kind of don't want to know who he is. And that's not just me. No. It never is just me on Crash Talk. I always represent some side in some war somewhere about something, don't I? Well, tonight is no different, and I'm going to open up the phone lines in the third segment of the show tonight. If you want to call in and give me your 2 cents on any of the topics of the evening, you feel free. The number, of course, is 914-873-1NYC. That's right, at Radio 1 New York. For those of you who don't know what 1NYC is, then that would be 914-873-1692. Yes, 1692. There you go. So you can feel free to call in and chime in the third segment, and I'll let you have at. But before we get to the third segment, that's so far away. It's like an hour away, isn't it? Yeah. Well, not quite, but yeah, you know what I mean. Anywho, The Daily Show. Now, this is an Emmy award-winning, Peabody award-winning show hosted by a white guy. Yes, there I said it. Now, it should be noted that said white guy has carried that show for a good number of years, winning those Emmys and Peabodys. Now, I can't give credit to, of course, the white guy sitting behind the host's desk. No, not entirely anyway. As anybody in the industry knows, yes, I am talking about the entertainment industry, you morons. As anybody in the industry knows, timing and delivery is 2/3 of a hell of a dynamite powerhouse that is comedy. But there's also the writing, isn't there? And, well, looking at the writers of The Daily Show, they're white. All right, I'm just going to be blunt and say it. They're white. Well, in the space of about 24 hours, this Trevor Noah guy went from idolized to scrutinized and now criticized. Yes. On Twitter, of course, because everything happens on Twitter. There's nothing in life that's going on, apparently, or is real or anything else unless it's on Twitter, of course. So the South African comedian who will take over Jon Stewart's job as host of Comedy Central's The Daily Show later this year was praised and heralded yesterday as the news spread of his being assigned to replace Jon Stewart on The Daily Show. And yeah, I did coffee and cigarettes yesterday, as I always do, 3 p.m. Eastern, right here on HTLA Radio 1. And, me and the guest co-host there, we were all kind of taken aback. Who's this Trevor Noah guy? What the hell? That's not even a cool, flashy name like Crash Jesus. No, Trevor Noah. That's kind of boring. And what? Who is this person? Well, he is the one who they gave the job to of hosting that Comedy Central show, The Daily Show. And he'll be starting to do that job later on this year. And like I said, he has been praised and heralded in the news as it was announced yesterday. He was cheered for being a hottie, apparently, for being smart and sophisticated, and for not being another, quote, white guy. That's the official quote, yes. For being a hottie, a smart and sophisticated man, and not being another white man. No, because heaven forbid we'd want more white men in entertainment. No. And then Twitter went back to read some of his tweets, and, well, quite frankly, a lot of people began to have problems with his wisecracks. Yes. Will it affect his gig? Well, so far, Comedy Central's sticking by their man. Yes. Comedy Central issued a statement today standing by Mr. Noah, calling him a, quote, talented comedian with a very bright future. This, of course, is the first I've heard that he was actually a comedian. I just thought he was some dude they picked up in South Africa. Really. Well, like many comedians, Trevor Noah pushes boundaries. He is provocative and spares no one, himself included. Well, we'll see about that in a minute, won't we? The channel's statement said, to judge him or his comedy based on a handful of jokes is unfair. Yes, All right. Still, some of Noah's tweets are being labeled by many as anti-Semitic, anti-Israel, and both are a serious charge in this day and age, aren't they, kids? Yes, in fact, many people have lost their jobs for saying less than I'm about to tell you about what this man has already said in the first 24 hours of his fame. Number one on the tweet hit parade tonight is, behind every successful rap billionaire is a double as rich Jewish man, with the hashtag Beats by Dreidel. Yeah. And he goes on to tweet, almost bumped a Jewish kid crossing the road. He didn't look before crossing, but I still would have felt so bad in my German car. Yeah, anti-Israel, anti-Jewish stuff. Yeah, the only other thing he says about any other group would be a rap billionaire, but that would be glorifying the black man, wouldn't it? Yes, it would. Well, I guess that's what he means by poking fun at himself, because I don't see anything else here that he has said in the last 24 hours that in any way, shape, or form pokes fun at himself. His third tweet, I am watching Olympic women's hockey. It's like lesbian porn without the porn. Has a hashtag attached to it, in love. Okay, so you love women that have absolutely no interest in you. That must be a joke, right? Yeah, well, that's what I'd kind of think. Okay, well. Now, the Anti-Defamation League, which closely monitors anti-Semitic episodes in the USA, its annual report found 912 such incidents in the USA, was not up in arms, at least not according to its Twitter account. Its most recent tweets today were concerned with the super racist activity in Virginia. And of course, yes, the super racist activity hyped by the media. National Director Abe Foxman issued a statement saying that the ADL wishes Noah's success in urging him to ensure The Daily Show remains funny and irreverent without trafficking in bigoted jokes at the expense of Jews. And yes, Mr. Noah, if you are new to the scene, which I know you are, the Jews are your writers. Just remember that. We need humor, perhaps now more than ever, and we hope that we will build on Jon Stewart's great legacy, Foxman said. We understand that comedians often use humor to poke fun at stereotypes and to push the envelope of political correctness, and it seems that many, if not most, of the tweets sent by Trevor Noah over the years fall into those categories. We hope he will not cross the line from legitimate satire into offensiveness with jokes calling up anti-Semitic stereotypes and misogyny, the statement said. Robert Thompson, TV and pop culture expert at Syracuse University, had some sympathy for Noah. 31 years old, but still thinks that the controversy is legitimate because some of his tweets are ugly and sophomoric. They put a cloud over the handsome intellectual image that many who didn't know him saw in him, at least for that first 24 hours, Thompson said. I expect he'll go through the standard apology phase. Unfortunately, or fortunately rather, for Comedy Central, he isn't starting anytime near now. The expectation is that will be forgotten. Unless, of course, there's more stuff that he wishes to continue propagating out there. But Rich Hanley, Associate Professor and Director of Graduate Journalism at Quinnipiac University, says that he thinks it'll all blow over. It's not that big of a deal because of where he's positioned in the media firmament, says Hanley. Comedy Central has a little more flexibility and latitude in what it can let hosts get away with. For the people who watch Comedy Central, these are not unusual tweets. For more traditional audience and standard type of broadcaster, this wouldn't go. We are talking about the cable channel that has brought us South Park and the recent Justin Bieber roast, just to name a few of its shows. Noah, 31, a biracial comedian who grew up in the fraught racial, ethnic, political culture of South Africa, has performed all over the world, but only 3 times on The Daily Show. He has nearly 9,000 tweets on his Twitter account. Among the first signs that someone is mining Noah's Twitter life came in the Jewish Telegraph Agency, described as a global wire service for news about and for Jews. It highlighted some of his tweets about Israel, suggesting that he might be anti-Israel. Tweets are as follows: South Africans know how to recycle, like Israel knows how to be peaceful. Ha. Also, he says, to reduce my views to a handful of jokes that didn't land is not a true reflection of my character, nor my evolution as a comedian. Yes, because apparently his comedy evolves. So I guess with any kind of evolution, we'll just have to give it one hell of a lot more time. Now, the Daily Caller, a conservative online website skeptical of the liberal tone of The Daily Show, picked up the story, as well as, of course, the New York Times. So there he is. There's the man of the hour, Trevor Noah. Nobody Noah, as far as I'm concerned. I really have to question, has nobody learned from Marky Costello in the world of casting? Please, really? I think she would give this guy a total fail, number one. The reason I say that, of course, is because as any host knows, yes, even some tiny no-name host like yours truly here in this tiny little city of New York, when you are any kind of a personality, when you're a person of the public eye, no matter how big or small, what you say and do does affect people, because of course people, they like you or they hate you, but either way they are aware of who you are and what you do, and they act and follow accordingly. The interesting thing here is this man, in the first 24 hours since this announcement has come out, has done nothing to display any kind of good faith to Comedy Central in terms of representing them. Now, it's all well and good to say, oh, well, Comedy Central's just bottom feeder TV. They put on South Park, for God's sake. That's just the people they attract. Well, some facts for you. The people that South Park attracts is the majority. At least the majority in the United States and the majority in Canada, between certain age groups, of course. Yes, you must understand it's all demographics. But really, you have to understand those demographics and who those markets cater to spend one hell of a lot of money in the marketplace. And that is fueled by what? Well, the advertising. Right. Either way you slice it, this is 2015. He represents a broadcasting corporation. And in that very rudimentary, basic, elementary statement, you need to you need to represent them properly. You just do. It's a job. This isn't all just fun and games and, oh, well, I'll tell a bunch of racist jokes now and everybody will remember me. And then when I go and tape the show, I'll get lots of ratings and et cetera, et cetera. And while that might be true, you can't ignore the groups that you're pissing off with all this because, well, they're part of that market that your bosses are mining for the gold. Yeah, so if they're going to go get their gold somewhere else, you don't want to be around when your bosses figure out, hey, that was you that did that. No, it's not a good thing. What can be said about this? You're probably sitting there going, well, this guy's a nobody, Crash, and why the hell are you bringing this up? He's already pissing people off 24 hours into the announcement of him doing the bloody show. Why do you care? Why are you bothering with it? Well, there's a number of reasons why I care, and I'll tell you why. Right now, well, pretty much anywhere, actually. There are actors and comedians out there who have agents, and they go to reads and auditions all the time, and they actually care about their craft and their job. It's their job, and I felt it's kind of compelled to kind of speak up on their behalf tonight. partially because, the Screen Actors Guild, for example, SAG. Many of you have probably heard of that. That's a pretty major actors union. They represent comedians as well. And it is the only union ever in history to have a membership and have 98% of its total membership at SAG, 98%, not exceed making $5,000 a year doing the job. Okay? They do not make more than $5,000 a year. 98% of that membership. And yes, granted, the other 2% are the Angelina Jolies and all the rest of them who are raking in the billions of dollars. Absolutely. But when 98% of your union membership does not see more than $5,000 a year, and then this guy comes along and he just gets thrown this, oh yeah, here, take over the Daily Show. I think one episode, I think he's starting off at $40,000. So right there, he's made 8 years of anybody else in SAG. Just, here you go. Yeah, you're a comedian. This will be good. Well, truth be told, he may be good. I don't know. I wasn't there. Maybe he actually did do some remote video auditioning for the show. It's a possibility. Maybe he was good. Maybe when he gets on the show and it actually airs, I'll look at that show and go, wow, okay, now I see what they see in him. I'll shut up now. But I still can't get past the fact that, okay, he's been hired on with Comedy Central to take over this show. Here's your $40,000 an episode, and we'll start shooting in 6 months, and we'll make the announcement Monday. Make the announcement Monday, and the guy japs you. The company, make no mistake, they may be poo-pooing this, but they're not happy about this. Who would be? Let's not forget we're living in the PC age where nothing is okay to say, and this guy is saying all the wrong things on Twitter within a 24-hour period. It's not a good start. We're going to go for our first commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about that, and then we'll talk about the race issue that is directly linked to this. Oh, yes. Back in 2.
You've got it locked to New York's best talk, HTLA Radio 1.
What if there was a coffee that was sourced from some of the world's most renowned growing regions, abundant with rich, fertile soil? What if this coffee was picked at the perfect moment, then packed meticulously and shipped carefully to be roasted under the watchful eye of coffee masters? What if it was expertly blended, ground, and sealed, ensuring maximum flavor and freshness, then brewed in small batches and always served fresh within 20 minutes, just the way you like it? Now, what if this coffee just happened to be the coffee you already know and love? Tim Hortons. Always fresh. Always great tasting coffee.
Man, I've been to a lot of places over these past 50 years. Seen the whole true north strong and free. 'Cause I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. I've been to Cooksville, Stouffville, Baynesville, Bowmanville, Bonnieville, Unionville, Oakville, Dunville, Brockville, Boucherville, Melville, Drummondville, Kentville, Grenville, Morinville, Maryville, Parksville, Stephenville, Sackville, Spring Hill, Westville, Walkerville, hanging on a windowsill. Hey! He said, wow, that's a lot of places. I said, hang on, there's more. I've been to Moncton, Picton, Shannon, Vernon, Stellarton, Hamilton, Nipigon, Nobleton, Yorkton, Brighton, Bolton, Beaverton, Brandon, Edmonton, Walkerton, Wyerton, Granby, Miramichi, Charlottetown, Burnaby, Yellowknife, Whitehorse, Corner Brook, Nunavut. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. I crossed the prairies bare, man. I breathed the mountain air. I've traveled, I've done my share, man. I've been everywhere, man. Check it out. Ottawa, Wawa, Mattawa, Chippewa, Moose Jaw, Oshawa.
we arrived at our hotel in New York, the porter was so incredibly careless with our bags. And the room they gave us, it was beautiful. A broom closet. But the worst part was the shower. My wife drying herself with the Egyptian cotton towels. Shower curtain defined that whole vacation for her. Don't just visit New York. Visit TripAdvisor New York.
With millions of reviews, a visit to TripAdvisor makes any destination better.
Some said the U.S. has lost its innovative power. We said America is lighting the way as the innovation nation. Singular insights, superior execution. That's the power of global connections. Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Voted top global research firm 2011, 12, and 13.
I've been so inspired by being in New York because everything from what people are wearing on the street to the way they're interacting with each other, to drive through the West Village at night and you see a couple kissing on the street, or you see someone fighting outside their apartment, or you see so much humanity on a daily basis that even if you're not inspired by your own life that day, you can be inspired by someone else's life.
You got that long hair, slicked back, white t-shirt, and I got that good girl face and a tight little skirt. And when we go crashing down, we come back every time, 'cause we never go out of style. We never go out of style. Take me out.
There's only one place to get more Taylor. We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.
Well, welcome back to the big show. Tonight's Tuesday night Crash Talk for Tuesday, the 31st of March, 2015. Yeah, we're finally getting into that spring thing. Well, 3/4 of the country is, but the Northeast still sucks. Snow and ridiculous cold temperatures, while everybody is rocking it with 30-degree plus temperatures in many other parts of the United States. And indeed, the west coast of Canada is doing well, too. My hometown, those cherry blossoms have been out there for a good month and a half already. Why the hell did I come here again? Oh, right, to do this show. Ha ha! Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am back, and it's good to be back. Yes, yes. Once again, next segment of the show, I will be opening up the phone lines for you if you want. 914-873-1NYC or 914-873-1692. You can basically tell me to go to hell and that I'm all wrong about this guy, and it's not a racial thing. Well, hey, I submit it is, because right in the story, New York Times, quote, he was cheered for his being a hottie, for being smart and sophisticated, and for not being another white guy. End quote. It's almost like saying that white guys now in media are no good, and I guess I can sort of understand it with that whole NBC's Brian Williams dealio. Yes, white men do lie, but you know what? Black men do too. So I'm not sure if that really would apply. No. And of course, what happened to the great, the wonderful, the awesome man himself? Well, he went on to bigger and better things, didn't he? Yes, Jon Stewart. He's established, he's done, and he's out and going on up to bigger and better things. And who wouldn't? You know, I'm not downing Jon Stewart for leaving the damn show and leaving the opening and letting this idiot come in. No. That's not what I'm ranting about. I think it's good to have a change. Yeah. Every once in a while, why not? But what is this really? Do you think Comedy Central said, well, now we got to go out and get a black guy? Do you think that's what they said? I don't think that's what they said, but I also don't think that they said, let's go out and get a really well-known, talented comedian. They didn't say that either. No, they didn't. So what are they giving us here? Are they happy with the metrics? Are they happy with the market segment just remaining status quo? Well, we've got all these awards already. We've kind of had our run, so let's just throw this ninny up there and run for a couple of more seasons and see what happens. Is that really the logic behind it? Well, you might think that it's not. But I can tell you that other shows, both popular and not on television, have been pretty much conceived and decided upon in much that same way. That rudimentary thinking of the executives. And the big question, will this bite Comedy Central in the ass? Well, quite possibly it could. Certainly, as far as professionalism goes, I'm not really seeing much from this guy, so I think the powder keg could go off at any time. Do I think he's actually going to make it that 6 months to go to taping? Well, I don't. No. Because I've checked into this Trevor Noah as much as somebody can about somebody else relatively unknown on the internet, and he's not all that. I've seen some YouTube videos of his stand-up routine, and it's kind of I didn't even find myself giggling at any point in it. His delivery and presence on camera, I don't think, is very good either. But then what do I know? I don't like the guy from Talk Soup either. But that's partly why. Well, that's those stupid little thin single-breasted suits. Yeah, those little things that the women get all the beta males to wear. You ever notice that recently? Yes, all the men around New York City anyway. There's no men that carry any weight anymore, any presence. No. Why? Well, because the women have dressed them up to look like elves. And I'm not even kidding. No, pull your heads up out of your ass, away from that iPhone 5, and look around on the street tomorrow. And you will see exactly what I'm talking about. These little thin suits. I don't. How the hell? What happens in the wintertime? Well, they still wear these little thin suits. I don't get it. Maybe I'm just too old. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Back in my day, we had winter suits, we had summer suits, we had spring suits, and we had fall suits. And they were all made of different materials. And yes, dare I say, wool and tweed. Oh, my God. Yes, the good old, well, what do you call it? The English standard, I guess. Yes. Wear yourself a nice tweed herringbone in the fall and winter, don't you? Yes, because you have to, because the suits aren't all that warm in the first place. But what do they got today? Well, we've got Christine Louboutin and all these lovely designers coming up with even thinner ties, even thinner material suits, all single-breasted. There's no double-breasted anymore because, geez, what did the double-breasted suit used to do? It used to make the man look like he presented with a larger chest. Yes. Well, we don't have those anymore. Yes, like I said, take your iPhone 5, put it down, look up and look around at how the people are dressed these days. Men are dressed ridiculously, and it doesn't stop at the suits. Oh, no. No. Whatever happened to those nice double-breasted, double-zip-up biker jackets? Huh? You know the ones I'm talking about, like Arnold Schwarzenegger wore in Terminator 2. Remember that biker jacket? Those were biker jackets. Now what do we see for leather jackets in the city? Well, I'm telling you. We're seeing these single-breasted, thin little leather jackets that like, literally, the leather is so thin, it's like they're killing calves for this. They're paper-thin leather jackets, and they're single-breasted, a little zipper up the front, so, they can still wear their thin little ties. And then the shoes. Oh, my God, let me get to the shoes. What is with this elf shoe thing? Is anybody really going to tell me that a man's man, the kind of man you'd look up to in battle, the kind of man that would smoke a cigarette, drink a fifth of rye, and go grab a girl and carry her off by the waist to bed, Do you think he designed the shoe? No, he didn't. Nope. No, women designed those stupid little elf shoes that I'm talking about. You know the ones. Those long, pointed dress shoes that your wife or girlfriend keeps trying to make you wear. Yeah, those ones. Yeah. Well, do you think Trevor Noah has a pair of those? I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, he's got a closet full of them. But hey, what am I really talking about? Because why does all that matter? You know, so the guy follows fashion, he's a comedian, and he's in the public eye, he needs to follow fashion. Well, if you need to follow fashion, then maybe follow a little bit of the PC, and don't piss off the Israelis and the Jews in your first 24 hours. How about that? See, this is why this kind of balance just doesn't work for me. Is this guy David Letterman? Not a chance in hell. Is he even another... Is he a Bill Maher? No, he's nowhere near as smart. No, but he's smart and sophisticated, according to them. Do you believe it? I'm not sure I believe it. Well, actually, no. I know I don't believe it. I know I don't. It's total bullshit. It is. Yes. And, of course, being lauded for not being another white guy. I don't understand that. What's the problem now all of a sudden with white guys? You know, with all this Ferguson stuff, all these uproars about killing these unarmed black teens who were in the midst of committing serious crimes in each and every case, which you don't hear about. No, nobody wants to know what the black guy was doing that got the police attention in the first place. It's not about that. It's about Black Lives Matter, damn it. Is that what's behind this decision to put this absolute unknown dude in the big chair of Jon Stewart? Yeah? Because he's not another white guy? I don't know. Let's kind of look historically at white guys in comedy and white guys in hosting television shows, shall we? And of course, I would throw out the David Letterman, sure, but he's got a 35, almost 40-year career of doing one hell of a bang-up show, one hell of a job of hosting. Everybody on the planet knows him. Everybody in the business wants to be on it. That's something you'd need to aspire to, and that's a white guy. Oh, no. But, you know, I'm just being, you know, my racist self, I suppose you'd say. That's what I hear all the time. How about another white guy, Bob Hope? Does that name ring a bell with any of you? For the majority of you listening to my show, because we do get the demographics here at HTLA, and I know most of you are 37 to 45 years old, 55% of you are men, and 45% of you are women. I know that. So I know you all know who Bob Hope is. But I can guarantee you the people that this Comedy Central show appeals to don't. No. You might have the odd one who knows because his mom or dad mentioned it to them, or his mom or dad has a shrine to Bob Hope in their study or something, but by and large, they're not going to know who that is. And let's talk about Bob Hope. Master of comedy. Absolutely. Master of ceremonies at countless roasts long before these Comedy Central garbage swearfest roasts were popular. Oh, yes, we had them back in the 60s, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we did. It was intelligent comedy back then. It wasn't how many whores and FUs can you say in 30 seconds like it seems to be now. But maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe the market that this appeals to is this guy is exactly what they want and need. And am I here to say that that's not okay? No. Absolutely not. But the funny thing is that I've been a longtime fan of South Park since it started up in Canada. Thank you very much. Do you know why that show was started, America? South Park makes fun of Americans. Yes, it does. It's made by Canadians. and it does nothing but ridicule America all day long. And the American populace does what? Do they take offense? No. They eat it up. They love it. They think it's hilarious. Well, yeah, I guess, because you're at ground zero, you're living it. But let me tell you, from the perspective of outside the country, it's not a very good thing in your favor. But I'll digress. We are talking about Trevor Noah, after all, and man, I think my show here actually tonight is giving him more airtime and press than anybody will. Because I don't think he's going to make it to the first taping of the first show. I think he's going to say and do things that will be, well, pretty much a mandatory goodbye between then and now. Because he is kind of filled with his own ego right now, having, of course, gotten this job. And, you know, there's subsequent huge media around him right now, and press and all this good stuff and events and everything else. He's living in the fast lane right now. And somebody with this kind of internal personal growth, let's put it that way, someone with this man and his level of stature and sophistication, I guess we'll call it, he's got no staying power. And I think that the 15 minutes of fame will be up long before he goes to that taping. I think some of the things he has already demonstrated in the first 24 hours that he has said, I think that's going to land him in the "you're fired" category before day one of shooting. So you guys all hold that to me. I'm going to stick by that, and going to go for our second commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to get into, well, another winner in my book, or is he? Yes, Governor Pence, as he struggles today to, quote, fix that religious freedom law that he signed last week. So stay tuned. We'll be back in 2.
You've got it locked to New York's best talk, HTLA Radio 1.
Man, I've been to a lot of places over these past 50 years. Seen the whole true north strong and free. 'Cause I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. I've been to Cooksville, Stouffville, Bainesville, Bowmanville, Bonnieville, Unionville, Oakville, Dunville, Brockville, Boucherville, Melville, Drummondville, Kentville, Grenville, Morinville, Maryville, Parksville, Stephenville, Sackville, Spring Hill, Westville, Walkerville, hanging on a windowsill. Hey! He said, wow, that's a lot of places. I said, hang on, there's more. I've been to Monton, Picton, Shannon, Vernon, Stellarton, Hamilton, Nipigon, Nobleton, Yorkton, Brighton, Bolton, Beaverton, Brandon, Edmonton, Walkerton, Wyerton, Granby, Miramichi, Charlottetown, Burnaby, Yellowknife, Whitehorse, Corner Brook, Nunavut. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. I crossed the prairies bare, man. I breathed the mountain air. I've traveled, I've done my share, man. I've been everywhere, man. Check it out. Ottawa, Wawa, Mattawa, Chippewa, Moose Jaw, Oshawa.
It could be 7 in the morning. Or 10 at night.
In Chilliwack, BC.
Or St. Peter's, Nova Scotia.
It could be Michelle.
Or Mark.
Or Jen.
But whenever, wherever you order that cup of Tim Hortons Premium Blend Coffee,
You know that it's always
always
fresh.
From Newfoundland and Labrador to Vancouver Island, Tim Hortons, a coffee all our own.
You walked into the hotel as a 5. But when she saw the room, you turned into a weird 7. When she saw the rooftop pool, you went to 11. You two should probably get a room. Oh, that's right. You already did. At Planet Earth's #1 accommodation site, Booking.com. Booking.yeah.
Some said the U.S. has lost its innovative power. We said America is lighting the way as the innovation nation. Singular insights. Superior execution. That's the power of global connections. Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Voted top global research firm 2011, 12, and 13.
I've been so inspired by being in New York because everything from what people are wearing on the street to the way they're interacting with each other, to drive through the West Village at night and you see a couple kissing on the street, or you see someone fighting outside their apartment, or you see so much humanity on a daily basis that even if you're not inspired by your own life that day, you can be inspired by someone else's life.
You got that long hair, slick back, white t-shirt, and I got that good girl face and a tight little skirt. And when we go crashing down, we come back every time, 'cause we never go out of style. We never go out of style. Take me out.
There's only one place to get more Taylor. We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.
And we are back tonight on the big show, Crash Talk. Oh, Noah, you didn't. That's right. Talking all about Trevor Noah in the first two segments tonight, taking over the Daily Show from Jon Stewart. And really what an asshole the man is. And, I don't know. Do you think we fucked up on this one? I think we fucked up on this one. And I did say in the second segment there just before the break that, no, I don't think he's going to make it the 6 months to even do that first show's taping. Because he just doesn't have the substance, the staying power, the... What do they call it? His sophistication. Yes. Yeah, they're going to have to get another black guy for the show. Because, of course, they didn't want, quote, another white guy. Yes, because white guys just don't know comedy and they don't know how to host shows. Which I also illustrated as total BS, citing the likes of David Letterman and, of course, the late, great Bob Hope. But what do I know? I'm just a stupid Irish guy from Canada, right? Well, what do you know? Yeah, here's the question. What do you know? This segment, we're going to be talking about Indiana's religious freedom law. And, well, really what's got everybody up in goddamn arms? What's their problem? Well, first of all, I guess we have to take this law back to its origins. Yes, let's do that. This law originated in 1993, and it was a federal law protecting religious freedoms, to which Indiana Governor Mike Pence has pointed as the model for his state's controversial new law that he signed in last week. The original law actually grew out of two Native Americans' use of peyote in a religious ceremony. Well, the law sparked state versions after the Supreme Court said in 1997 that the federal statute couldn't apply to state and local governments. But the Supreme Court expanded the application of the law at the federal level last year by ruling that its protections apply to closely held corporations that did not want to include contraceptive coverage in their health insurance plans. And, yes, I know, what does contraception coverage have to do with the use of peyote in religious ceremonies? Well, you see, that's the other problem, America. Your laws are just so bloody convoluted. None of you know what they actually mean. And when they're explained to you, you actually wonder, well, how the hell did that become this? Which is, of course, the logical conclusion, because I came to the same conclusion. What the hell does use of peyote in a religious ceremony have to do with the business owner's right to turn away LGBT couples? How did they get twisted into that effing mess? Well, it's a good question. Well, here's what you need to know about the Indiana religious freedom law. Now, the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, which was signed by Indiana Governor Mike Pence last week, has been condemned by tech, business, and political leaders on the grounds that it is anti-gay and a detriment to hiring the best and the brightest for jobs. Okay? That's the big bitch. It's anti-gay and a detriment to hiring the best and the brightest for jobs. Well, what does the law actually say? Well, I've got that for you. The Religious Freedom Restoration Act says that the government cannot substantially burden a person's ability to follow their religious beliefs unless it can prove a compelling interest in imposing that burden or do so in the least restrictive way. I don't see anything anti-gay there. There's nothing that is anti-gay there, but proponents of the law say that it will prevent the government from infringing on people and their ability to exercise their religious beliefs. Well, never mind the separation of church and state in the first place, because obviously the government is ignoring that completely. But let's move a little closer to how the hell this affects the LGBT community and, indeed, how it discriminates against that community. The opponents say it could allow business owners to legally discriminate against the LGBT community. Now, of course, this came up last year with that baker in, I think, Indiana or Arizona or Colorado, one of the three states. This guy owns a bakery, okay? He owns a bakery. And he had some customers come in one day. Now, let's get one thing clear. He doesn't sleep with them. He doesn't bang them. He doesn't know what their sexual orientation is. He just had some customers come in one day and ordered a wedding cake for the 16th of June. Okay, I forget what the exact date was, but they wanted a cake on a certain day. Well, he turned them away. He said he couldn't do it. He used some excuse, I suppose, is what they're saying, that, his schedule was too full or he had two other weddings that day and he just doesn't have the manpower or the ability to do that for them. Sorry, but they'd have to find another baker. He even offered information. He passed them a business card of a competing bakery a couple of blocks down the road. He says, go and see Nancy. Here's their card. Tell them I sent you and hopefully they can help you. And off they went. Well, as we all know, they didn't go to that other bakery. They never went and saw Nancy. What did they do? They went to their lawyer. Yes, they did. And they said, oh, well, this guy refused us service. He won't do our wedding cake because we're gay. Now, I don't know about you. I don't go into a bakery or Walmart or any other public place or store or business and start off my conversation before I even talk to them about whatever it is they're offering by saying, I'm a heterosexual dominant. I like beating girls' asses until they're red and then fucking them really hard. I don't do that. Do you do that? I don't think you do that. I don't think we phone up DirecTV at that 1-800-DirecTV line and we want to order service and the first thing out of our mouths is what we like to fuck and how we like to fuck it. I don't think so. And in order for these LGBT fuckers to sit there and go to their lawyer and say that he refused us our wedding cake because we're gay, what they're basically saying is, unless they're saying that they've known him personally for years, is that they walked in, told them they like to fuck each other, and we're getting married. Otherwise, how would he know they're gay? Seriously. Oh, maybe that's why they wear the rainbow t-shirts and carry around the rainbow flags and are constantly announcing to the world that they're gay. Who fucking cares? That's the bottom line. Who fucking cares? You're here, you want to order a cake. It's for the 16th. I'm booked on the 16th. I couldn't possibly deliver it to you. I can make it, but I can't deliver it to the wedding. Well, that's no good. We need it delivered. And off they go. And next thing you know, this guy is looking at a lawsuit about discrimination against the LGBTers. So there you go. Let's just be clear about that right off the hop. That's what actually happened there. I talked to the effing baker. Yes, I did. When this story broke, I was like, there's no grounds here. This doesn't even make any sense. I'm going to talk to this guy and see what the hell transpired. And how I laid it out to you, my fine listeners, is exactly how that transpired. They came in, they were looking at cake books, they were looking at pictures, they liked his work, they started talking to him about the cake that they wanted and everything else. He asked questions, as all bakers do that cater weddings. And I can tell you this for a fact because I've had numerous weddings before, and yes, that's what they do. And one of the questions that they will ask you is, when is your big day? And it's one of the first questions they ask you. And they said the 16th. And he says, "Oh my God. Well, I'm sorry. I'd love to help you, but I'm completely booked. I've got 2 cakes due that day. All my people are out delivering them. There's no possible way I could get in another one for that day. I'm sorry. Here's Nancy's business card. She's just up the street, and she does great work. Tell her I sent you." How the fuck is that discriminating against LGBTers, I ask you, world? Well, the short answer is it's not. So you really have to ask yourself, well, wait a minute. Why is all the LGBTers up in arms and ready to, string this Governor Pence up? George Takei, our good friend at HTLA, he's taking him to task. He's putting out on his Twitter and all his social media, oh, boycott Indiana. Don't go to Indiana. Don't spend any money in Indiana. Keep out of India. Are you serious? So what, you're going to penalize every other business owner in Indiana now, George, for what one of your LGBTers says about the Religious Freedom Restoration Act? Well, here's some news for you, George. The LGBTers, that's not a religion. This act, this law is, quote, the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, period. They don't have in little tiny letters, fuck LGBTers. They don't have that there. It states that the government cannot substantially burden a person's ability to follow their religious beliefs. End of frickin' story. Unless it can prove a compelling interest in opposing that burden or to do so in the least restrictive way. And what does that mean? Well, the people who are behind that law say it prevents the government from infringing on people in their ability to exercise their religious beliefs, period. And what's wrong with that? Doesn't that go to further cementing that separation of church and state? Yes, I think so. Well, you see, here's the reality of it. This is what George Takei and the LGBTers are actually pissed off about. In Indiana, there are no statewide non-discrimination laws that protects gays or lesbians. Not in employment, not in housing, or in education. That's what they're pissed off about. It's got nothing to do with Governor Pence. It's got nothing to do with this Religious Freedom Restoration Act, period. But if they get that struck down by boycotting that state and causing enough shit in the Supreme Court, then, oh yes, then they can take their fight right to the heart of Indiana and start kicking them in the balls because they don't have statewide non-discrimination laws that protect gay and lesbians. That's what that's all about. And that, in my opinion, is just fucking stupid. That's all it is. It's just fucking stupid. And I think the day that any government in this country, whether it be state, local, or federal, imposes any such law that says you can't turn somebody away, that says you can't not give service to somebody. Go back 20 years. What happened to the little stickers on the doors of, the baker and the corner store and the pharmacy? And remember those stickers on the doors? No shirt, no shoes, no service. Businesses had the right 20 years ago to say that if you are not dressed at least in a respectable manner, if you do not have shoes on, we reserve the right not to serve you. We don't care who you fuck. We don't care if you're sleeping with a pig. You need a shirt and you need shoes. And if we're a 4 or 5-star restaurant, guess what? You need a dinner jacket too. Is that discrimination? No, sir. That is not discrimination. That is mutual respect. That's respect for the place you're in and respect for the patrons of the place. End of story. But oh no, we've got to make it about who we're sleeping with and everybody hates us because we're gay. No. No, I hate you because you're stupid. I tolerate only so much from people of any persuasion. I base my beliefs and factors on people based on their actions, not what they say, but what they do. And you people are doing a whole lot of saying and not a whole lot of doing for any community. Least of all, your own. Well, I'm Chris Crash Jesus Taylor, and that is all the time I got. I wanted to get to, I wanted to get to some phone calls tonight, but we didn't make it. But, jot down the number, 914-873-1NYC. That's 914-873-1692. That'll be the call-in number you use. And I'm going to get rolling out of here. I'm done venting. I feel much better. Thank you all for listening. Check out all the shows at HTLARadio1.com. You won't be sorry you did. And I'll see you tomorrow on Coffee and Cigarettes, 3 p.m. Eastern. Good night.
We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.